Money is not significant. Your mother is not significant. The word shit is nothing but 4 letters strung together. Besides, some folks call it poop. Since you created all of it, none of it is significant until and unless you say it is, unless you have a point of view about it. Welcome back to another episode on Into the Vortex with Aaron Doughty. On today's episode, I'm going to be revealing to you, literally opening up my iPad, showing you the top resources that I'm personally using in my life, especially for transitioning into 2021, the top books I'm reading, some of the books I'm revisiting, and just what you could also call my top permission slips. A permission slip is a word that Bashar coined that has to do with understanding something that we use as a tool to give ourselves permission to shift, to understand more about ourselves, and to also understand the world in a bigger way. Oh, there's another one that I forgot to add. I'll have to remember to add that in my mind so that I can explain it to you. So with all of this, and first off, the energy of 2021, I believe is going to be a year, as I've said a few times now, I think it's going to be a year of embodiment. I look at my own life in 2020. I look at the shadow year that I've been through where I've been really going within my shadow. I've read a lot of Carl Jung, who's like a psychologist, philosopher, talks a lot about the shadow. The shadow is the unconscious part of ourselves that we're not aware of. And going into 2020, I had all this intention to start doing live events, to really get out there into the world and expand. But what I've realized is that there's so many deeper layers to work that I kind of didn't know I had to do. Some of that work has to do with different mother and father wounds that I kind of acquired growing up. Some of it has to do with understanding my own sense of attachment to different things, whether that be labels, beliefs, a way of seeing myself, so like an identity, or even a person or people in my life. And what I realized 2020 is it was a year of massive letting go of the old shadow, and it was the most transformative year of my life. I can very confidently say that. I went through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of transition and change. You know, if you've ever studied numerology, you know, numerology is what we call a permission slip, and the numerology of this year for me is this was a 3-year for me. So basically there's a way that you add up the month plus the day you were born. So for me, I was born 11/24. I was born on November 24th. So 1 plus 1 is 2 because it's 11. And then 2 plus 24. So 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. Then what you do, so it's 8. That's the combination of the month and the day. You just add up the single digits. So you get 8. And then what you do is you add 8 to the year that we're in. So we're in 2020, right? 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 0 is 4. So if you add up 8 plus 4, the year that we're in, you get 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you get 12. So then if you add up and you single digit it, 1 plus 2 is 3. So that's how you do that. And there's different meanings of each one. If you want to learn more about this, and you go to aarondoughty.com/numbers, or how about we'll do this? Go to aarondoughty.com, AARONDOUGHTY.com/numbers1, the number 1. So NUMBERS 1. That will take you to a quiz that will actually show you your specific year you're in and explain exactly what that means for you. Now, 2020 for me was a 3-year. 2021 is going to be a 4-year because 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 1 is 5. 5 plus 8 is 13. 3 plus 1 is 4. That makes sense. You can just go to that aarondoughty.com/numbers1. That specifically, and if you haven't done that test yet in general to see your expression number, your life path number with numerology, it is extraordinarily accurate. I'm a life path 7 and an expression 11 number, so I'm a 711. And it says a lot, it's a permission slip like Bashar says, but it explains a lot about my personality, my life path, how I go about expressing my gifts into the world. And it also helps me understand how I'm going to be navigating through these next couple of years. So it's interesting. A 3-year is a creative year. 3-year is around a lot of people. It's a very playful and fun year. 3 is a number of like people with a life path 3 number are like the life of the parties. And what did I do in 2020? Well, I moved in with a couple friends in Sedona, and we had a house together, and they still have that house, but I'm now moving into my own house, and I realized that I really need my own space for me to focus and get a lot of what I want to do out into the world. So they're still my best friends. However, this was an interesting thing because it was a year of really getting out of my own comfort zone and being around a lot of people, meeting a lot of people, very playful year. And it was also a big year of healing at the same time. Now, funny enough, around my birthday, when I moved into a 4-year a lot of times has to do with setting up systems, hard work, really putting in, it sounds like a hard work kind of year, but it's funny because I'm now moving into my own house, and I got that house around my birthday, by the way, moved into it. I have it being remodeled right now, and I move into it in the middle of January. However, I'm super excited about it, and I can tell 4-year is going to be a year of more hard work for me, which is interesting. It's going to be a year, not hard work like in this negative connotation, but it's going to be a year of me setting up systems. I'm starting these new ventures kind of with my own branding. I've been rebranding lately. And it's very obvious to see that the energy of the 4-year is starting to pick up for me, systems, and it actually feels good. Even though 4 in numerology as a 4-year doesn't seem to be the funnest year, I think it'll be a very productive and still a fun year. Remember, it's a permission slip. These things are what we make them to be. So numerology, I just kind of went off on a tangent with numerology, but it's a powerful permission slip, and it's a permission slip that I use. And moving into 2021, it's a permission slip that maybe you can use. And if you want, by the way, just the standard report, this is the one that you probably see me share a lot of people's DMs about it because they say it's so accurate. That's at aarondoughty.com/numbers, NUMBERS. That's the original report that is super accurate, that it's in a voice that like explains the different things to you. And yeah, it's really easy. You don't have to, all you do is you put in the date you were born, your full name given at birth, and then it calculates all these numbers and it gives you these Jedi mind trick stuff. It's pretty cool. So yeah, numerology for me has been a very powerful permission slip moving into 2021. And what I'm going to do in this episode is kind of just, I'm going to go back and forth with some things. I also want to share some books with you, and I want to read some quotes from these books because, sometimes I think it's cool for me to actually show you some of the vibe of some of these books so that you can see if you want to get them and if you want to read them or listen to them. So one of the most powerful books of 2020 for me, and it was very necessary for 2021, was a book that many of you heard me talk about before. And I know it sounds like a broken record, but there's a book by Dr. David Hawkins. He's also the author of Power versus Force, which is a book that chart of consciousness I share in like every other YouTube video. That is the book. He's the author. And in this book, it's called Letting Go, The Pathway to Surrender by Dr. David R. Hawkins. And I would say that, honestly, this is one of the most powerful books I have ever read. And one of the reasons being is it helps us really understand that raising our vibration is simply about letting go. Letting go of the old, letting go of attachment, letting go of labels. And if you think about it, when you look at that chart of consciousness and you see love, joy, peace, and enlightenment at the top, at the bottom you got shame, fear, guilt, anger, neutrality, reasoning, which is the intellect of the mind, the belief systems, and then love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. You naturally are enlightenment. A lot of the Buddhas and gurus of the past have said this. Even Osho, a little more controversial there, but Osho himself has a quote, and he says, enlightenment cannot be attained. How can you attain something you already are? It's because you naturally are enlightened, but there's all these filters and these clouds that are overlaying your perception. And because of attachment, it then keeps you in low vibration. It then keeps you attached to what are called different positionalities, attached to labels, definitions. And that attachment is keeping you in pain. And the truth is, that attachment was keeping me in pain. In 2020, I was attached at the beginning of the year to an old relationship. And even though I intellectually wanted to move on, there was this pull that was like causing this childhood wounds to come up. And there was a belief system there, and an attachment to a belief system there that wasn't serving me. It was identifying my sense of happiness with something or someone that was outside of myself. But what really helped me was reading the book Letting Go. And the reason being is because what Letting Go showed me is that the false premise was that that person or different labels or identities that are outside of me could actually make me feel happy on the inside. And once I realized that it was a false belief, it was an attachment, I was then able to see that, all I have to do is release this attachment. Attachment really is the root of all suffering. That's what Buddha said. Desire and attachment is the root of all suffering. And in the book Letting Go, you're able to see an intellectual and logical understanding to why that is. Because attachment is literally making something that is outside of you, you. It is identity. This was also a huge epiphany I had while doing Wachuma, which is San Pedro. I did that recently, another permission slip I'll be talking about. I did that in Costa Rica when I was doing 2 nights of ayahuasca. And the epiphany that I had, which I've already kind of intellectually understood, but I really understood, is that everything, literally everything on the outside is a reflection anyways. In a way, that thing is you. It's a deeper level understanding. But here's what I realized. Anything that we like in our life, anything that we love, it is reflecting back another aspect of ourselves that we love. This is a clip from the Daily Vortex Podcast, where I post 2 times a week, and we go really deep on understanding consciousness, understanding how to raise our vibration, how to bring these spiritual concepts down to earth in a relatable and practical way. For the whole entire episode, you can click the link below, but also subscribe to that of the Daily Vortex Podcast on either iTunes or Spotify. That's where there are a backlog of over 100 episodes, plus the whole entire episode length is there. On this channel, you will only be seeing clips moving forward. So if you want the whole episodes, you can click the link below. You can subscribe. They're also very easy to listen to. They're automatically downloaded once you subscribe, plus you'll never miss an episode. So this is where most of my intention is and my energy is going these days, and I look forward to bringing you many more amazing episodes. But for the rest of this episode, you can click below and you can subscribe to the Daily Vortex Podcast, and I look forward to helping you expand your consciousness in a very practical and relatable way. So I'll see you on the next episode, and as always, peace, much love, and namaste.